This episode of Live Long, Live Well is brought to us by Health at Homes, a home care company based out of Hyderabad, operating only in Hyderabad. Apart from sending doctors home, nurses home, physiotherapy at home, all blood tests including ECGs and X-rays are now possible at home. Adult vaccination is now available at home via Health at Homes. So if any of your people or you require healthcare services at home, there's a home care company called Health at Homes in Hyderabad only. Welcome back to Live Long, Live Well. I am Chaitanya, and today's guest is someone who heals in a way most people don't even know is possible. She's an actress, a creative and expressive art therapy practitioner, a therapeutic tarot reader, and a voice for emotional liberation through movement and art. Please welcome my friend Nitya. She's a dear friend first, an actor before she became my friend, and I didn't know she has to run today to take an exam at 6, right? So 15 years of no college.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Let's not tell people how old we are.
So how did all this happen, Nitya?
Oh, like from the beginning, I think acting and film just found me. That was one of the unexpected journeys that happened in my 20s, and I think wellness and therapy, I went and explored. So it was, two very, very different journeys. I love how we met. I think film is one of the reasons I have some really wonderful friendships. But yeah, that sort of was like, I believed in fate. I actually did my master's back in the day in direction, in filmmaking and mass communication. And I thought I'd be behind the camera, but I was in theater and things like that. And when somebody offered me a film, I did the first one, I think, which was Kerinta, as like a joke, like an experiment. What will happen? I'll tell my grandkids I was in a movie, and I went back to actually ad film at that time. I was an AD for ad in Bombay. And then it just kept knocking. I think Nandini Nursing Home came, and then 2 of my Malayalam films came with Padma Shri director Balachandra Menon and Gautami Tarimala ma'am, and then I did Operation Goldfish with... So it was just a journey till COVID.
That's the movie you and me went along with our friends to the theater and watched?
A couple of them we did that, no? I mean, I think Kerita was the first. That's where you, me, Teju, Vishwan, we all like became a gang, because like we were basically on screen and off screen just hanging out. The movie was about friendship.
We actually spent a lot of time
We spent a lot of time together at that time. It's like, 2014, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, but it's been at least 11, 12 years since we know each other now. So I also know her sister, her mother, her father, her father's brother, her grandmother, and they invite you guys.
You guys are like family friends, like legitimate now. We hang out at our clubs together, and
so Nitya wears a lot of beautiful identities, right? See, from a actress to a healer to a counselor now. She's also an artist, and I think your mother is also into psychology.
Yes, my mother did. I mean, my mother's been in clinical psychology for like 40 years now, but I think even though she did her formal education in clinical psychology, somewhere as she was growing and learning, she took to alternate therapies a lot. So she went into like Reiki, Access bars, tarot reading, crystal, chakra healing. Like she did all of those along with her clinical psychology. I think maybe that's where I got the inspiration from.
Something has to rub off.
Yeah. So she always blended the two, because she didn't believe that there was only one way of doing something. So I think when COVID happened, I think that's where my wellness journey as a facilitator started. I was exposed to all of this my whole life because of my mom, but I think in COVID was like this pause year for a lot of us, and specifically for me, I don't know, it did something. I went through a lot of my own mental health spirals and asking questions of like, what am I doing with my life? At that time I wasn't married, I didn't have a partner, and I was like what really, what do I have to show for on the map, and in my eyes, even my film career, I was like, it was average at best, so for me it was like a very tough year where I was just like, me being the harsh critic that I am to myself. I'm like, everything is zero, everything is like, zero, and so what do I have to show for at 30, And I think it's my family and my friends who were like, no, but you've done so many films, you've done this, you're this, and I was like, I need a break. That's when I kind of like escaped to Kerala. It's my favorite place to be. My mom's side of the family is from there. I spent about 6 months there. Well, I was taking, like, everyone gave me this is such candid information. Everyone gave me this, oh, you're such an amazing grandchild. You went to take care of your grandparents and be there with them during COVID. And I was like, yes, that is what I'm doing. But inside I knew I was like running away from everything that was life here. But that 6 months in that naturey, greenery place, and there's just something about grandparents, they're just so chillax and they just allow you to be you without asking too many questions sometimes. I think that's when it came to me. I had a conversation with one of my cousins who, she was going through something, I was helping her on the phone, and she said, Didi, you're really good at this. And I'm like, what is this? So she said, they're like, someone who helps. And I said, I'm not the psychologist type. I can't sit there with a pen and be like, okay, now tell me what next. And then she's like, there are other kinds of therapies out there. And I'm like, And that kind of sowed the seed for me. And that's when I started doing my research on what other modalities exist in the world. And I think that's when it became like a tidal wave of information. And I think that's when I came back to life a little bit with like what I was going through. And yeah, so since 2021, I have been studying and practicing in expressive and creative art therapies. I specialized in psychodrama. I'm constantly learning. Like I've just been doing 5 years of course after course, as well as now I have my own, clientele and my groups. And so yeah, I go to Chennai and Bombay a lot for those studies. The therapeutic tarot card reading, actually, I've been doing for 13 years now. That's something I learned when I was 21, which my mom taught me. Yeah. So again, it's, you don't have to, it's not like the movies. And I've been in movies, so I know how people over-exaggerate things in the movies. But it's just all different tools to help people understand things in a way where they can make their own choices. Because I feel like in all everyone does these modalities differently is also what I've learned. Because I've learned from many teachers across the globe. But for me, personally, I feel like any modality needs to help them explore and give them enough information for them to make their own choices. I don't believe in me, the facilitator, therapist, or practitioner making choices for them or nudging. It's really about helping you discover everything that's on your table so you can make the most informed choice. And so even for me, therapeutic tarot card reading is the same. Like it just gives you enough information to help you make a better choice, but it doesn't make choices for you.
See, for many people, including a part of me, psychiatry, psychology, in general, though I'm a doctor, is sitting down, listening to somebody.
Yeah.
Right before we started this conversation, we had a conversation on the couch, right?
Yeah.
See, how would you explain what you do in the form of expressive arts therapy to the person listening?
Yeah. Okay.
Remember we spoke about the cards?
Fair enough. So from my understanding, again, like I'm saying this again because different people define it differently. From the way I have absorbed it and I see expressive and creative art therapies, is it has multiple modalities, right? So visual art is just one, but it's the most common one that people have heard about. Oh, painting makes me happy. So, but okay, prequel. So art as therapy is different from art therapy.
Okay.
So art as therapy is when you do any expressive art form. It could be dancing, singing, painting, poetry. These are all art forms. When you do an art form that gives you a therapeutic feeling, that is art as therapy, right? Expressive art therapy is when we use these modalities for the purpose of exploration, intervention, healing, and they have a purpose where it's not about the end product, it is about the process. Like art as therapy is about the end product. You stare at the painting, you feel good. You look at that dance thing, you feel good. But in art therapy, the process of that movement, the process of creating and throwing paint on a wall, the process is where the healing happens, right? So, for example, like I said, visual art is just one of them. It's just the most commonly known one. But you have drama therapy, you have psychodrama, which is a role play based therapy. You have expressive body, which are somatic studies, kinesthetic studies and things like that. You have sound, you have dance movement, and these are all expressive art. So any expressive modality is expressive art. Now, how would I use it? So for example, I have seen expressive art as something that people feel a little more safe and comfortable to explore because it comes from a place of play. which is directly taps into our inner child in the first 5 minutes. And the minute we get tapped into our inner child, we do become a little more naturally vulnerable, naturally less guarded. So for example, when I do a safe space activity with my clients where I just take them through a visualization, and at the end of the visualization, there's some kind of prompt, they see something in their mind, colors, images, and then I would just ask them to take whatever colors they have and like paint something or draw something that depicts what they saw. And I don't force too much of talk if they don't feel like they need to, but I always ask them at least 2-3 sentences of what are you seeing on the page. So for example, at one point, one of my clients had drawn a red car, it was just like all our drawings look like 3rd grade drawings, which I love because it tells us we're touching in with our inner child. But and I said, just tell me 2-3 lines, and she shared these 3 wonderful lines, and she said, I can lock the doors, I can choose my own music, and it feels like a bubble. So now when she said this, and I know this person for 15 minutes, it's a new person, we're just doing something fun. I like to start sessions with safe spaces so I can tether them back to something on a day that they feel vulnerable. Now, in those 3 sentences, I have got so much information, right? The first one of I can lock the doors has given me as a facilitator the information that something has happened to this person in their life where they have been abused in some way. Maybe I don't yet know if it was emotional, physical, or sexual, but that's a big chunk of information. Okay, I can choose my own music. Now this is also telling me that there's somebody in this person's life that is controlling their decision making, because it means so much to them that they can choose their own music in their car. So it could be a parent, it could be a spouse, a friend. We don't know that yet, but I've got another realm. And then the bubble tells me that, this person has gone through enough in their life where they're starting to isolate themselves, where they need that they're putting up walls, they need safety. Now, I've got this much information in 15 minutes, whereas maybe...
To get the same through a conversation might take much longer.
Yeah, like in talk therapy, it might take me months to admit that, hey, my mother is so controlling that I don't even know how to deal with it, but I can't leave the house. As a child, there was this person who used to hit me really badly or did something else, and now I've become so closed off, I have no friends and I'm not connected to my community. Because this is very vulnerable statements, even for me to say them, and they're not my statements right now, it's a hard thing to admit. So expressive art helps us to address these things in a much more safe way, and then we can address it also safely. Like I could ask a question as, who would you like to be with you in this car? And that is helping the client maybe understand who is their support system. Whereas directly asking a question of, so who really do you have having your back in your life? That suddenly makes you feel so alone if you don't. But if I'm like, so who do you like to be in this car with you? They would there was this one friend I had in 10th grade. I've not reached out to them in a while, but it'd be really nice. We really got along. I'm like, so, maybe you want to give a call. So I'm creating safety for them, making them build their strength in using this, which is less attacking, it's so invasive, but doesn't feel invasive.
And also you're getting to know so much in so little time. No questions asked, they themselves are able to express certain things which you are picking up. Obviously, you as a counselor, trained person, you have the understanding of what questions to ask and what is the inference of what has been put on paper.
Of course.
And obviously, I would not be thinking the way you are, because that's your cup of tea. So then that leading question that you could just ask them, saying who would you like in the car, saying who are you comfortable with.
So there are different ways, so we just attack things in different ways compared to what maybe a talk therapist would. I think we're doing the same thing, but the way we do it is just very different, and I feel like people just engage more, they're vulnerable more naturally because it comes from this place of fun and play and things like that.
Obviously there are a lot of emotions that people hold within themselves, right? And this is like a release for them.
So based on the need, if a client is coming to me for, I'm really pent up with a lot of things, then maybe the kinds of activities I would choose would be more release activities. If it's something where they're like, I'm feeling deep pain and struggle, but I don't know where it's coming from. So maybe the activities will be more exploratory based, because we're trying to diagnose or find out what it is that they're struggling with. Why do they have issues maintaining relationships? So we would do some activities that somehow go to the past because it was born somewhere, this issue
it had to start somewhere.
Right? So we find out that. and then we work backwards, you know. So it based on what the person comes for, it is my job or any expressive art therapist job. Like in psychodrama, we have a saying is you have to be the most spontaneous person in the room. Because unlike a clinical setting, I cannot come with a fixed plan. I can't have a paper with step 1, step 2, step 3. Never works. Something my client will say, and my question has to just riff off of that.
Yeah,
because
in other words, you can't be asking somebody who would you like in that car unless they drew a car, right?
Yeah,
so it has to be.
Yeah, and then they will just give you these clues that you just keep picking up on, and you have to just be spontaneously. And I might come with an idea that last week they dealt with this trauma, so I have this activity in mind. But this week when they're talking to me, their energy has shifted. There's another thing that they're dealing with, so I can't force that activity. I will have to spontaneously come up with something else that deals with what they're dealing with today. And somehow it connects to the other things as well. So you have to like really be fluid with, I can't have a fixed questionnaire, I can't have a fixed. And so for me, I realized it was experience. Like I've been doing this for 5 years now, and I still feel like I have to keep studying because you're constantly needing to have like be on your
like
toes.
You're enjoying doing
I am. To be honest, I really am, because it is a field that I've realized I'm feeling passionate about. The more I talk to you, I'm also realizing how passionate. But I really enjoy,
So, have you ever witnessed somebody come sit down with you over 1 or 2 sessions, get rid of so much emotional burden that they had or carried through?
Yeah, so I specialize in group therapy, so we work in groups. And I also do one-on-one therapy. So now, for example, in a group session, let's say something as heavy as, and this has happened to me as a participant in psychodrama as well, and has also done it as a facilitator, is let's say I'm dealing with something like sexual abuse. That's one of the big topics we've heard about. Let's say in the room, now in life, I'm carrying a lot of shame and guilt about it. Most victims do, right? Mm. Like they just by inherently think it was their fault, many of us. So in that circle, let's say I do a little drama, we do a little activity where I have confronted something, you know. There are moments where the facilitator will I would place a stool in the center, and that would be, what are the things you didn't get to say that you want to say now, right? And that person will stand up, because we've not got to be aggressive towards our oppressor. So this is a chance to do that in action. Now, when you do that in action and say and give it back and be like, you know, it was not my fault, and then maybe I'll pick up something and like some pillows and give it to the client and be like, return all this baggage that you're carrying. It's not yours, it's that person's, right? And they're like, yeah. And then you're physically not just talking about I need to let it go. We simulate the feeling of physically giving back the burden that I'm carrying because of this thing, okay? Now 5, 20 or 12 people have witnessed me, let's say I'm the person doing it, do this. The minute you come back, and this is like let's say a 2-hour workshop that I'm doing, and I've come back to this circle. When we come back to the circle, we do sharing in a very specific way where we don't give advice or we don't talk about what the person did in their therapeutic work. You only share about how did that impact me or remind me of my life. So then certain people in the group will be like, you know, when I was 6, this happened to me. When I was in college, this happened to me. And they're talking about their experiences with a similar topic, let's say the similar sexual abuse topic. Now this person who's done their work in the group has also done the work by just being there, witnessing, and maybe this person said things that they also wish they could have said to their abuser. Without anything, in 2 hours, me as a person, I have dropped guilt and shame because 12 people have seen me, witnessed me, and they have not judged me for it, because inherently I'm carrying this baggage of I'll be judged if I tell anyone that this happened to me in my childhood. So now immediately I have, that part of me is healed because 12 people have not judged me. If anything, they've been empathetic. I've been seen, because the reason we carry the veil of guilt and shame is because we're hiding again. So just by the act of doing this in a group therapy process, I have unveiled something. So I've let go of guilt and shame. I've let go of the judgment that I think I will feel. And those, even without the facilitator making it obvious it's happening, is these silent subconscious healing that happens within that 2 hours just by playing out something or saying the things you couldn't say. Generally in such heavy things, we never rolled reverse. So we will not put you in a place where you feel the other thing. And then, you know, so in sessions like that, I have noticed people leave with, and I have left with, like, you let go of a burden because I got to play it out. I felt support. I felt, you know, all the things I thought I wouldn't have, that I'll be seen, I'll be supported, I'll not be judged. And in 2 hours, I got all of that from a group of strangers. And so there is a big load that you let go. And then following sessions, maybe you would do things that, now that the thing has come out, there's a vacuum, there's a void. So we would do sessions, follow-up sessions to now, what do I want to fill that space with? What are the things that I didn't do in my life that this thing was holding me back from? Maybe now I want to go on a date. It's not so scary anymore. Maybe, and we would play out that, give them the courage to maybe have a role play of what that feels like, and things like that.
No, this is something eye-opening even for me. See, obviously most of the viewers will not have an understanding that something like this is possible and that it exists today.
Yeah.
See, today I see a lot of people who come to me in the clinic. Your family, anything medically, they all come here. There are a lot of emotional issues that they carry. It presents through stress, chronic illnesses happen, diabetes, hypertension, all of this. There is a good amount of stress, some emotional insult.
Yeah.
So obviously that is what these people who you are talking with are having.
Yeah.
Any trauma in the past is obviously affecting them.
Yeah.
And you can all reach out to Nitya too. So I'll give you how to get in touch with Nitya. Maybe I'm going to join one of the classes too. And see, it's not that you need to have a problem to go do
Absolutely.
this. You don't need to. The idea is you might already be having something in your mind which you are not aware of.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was maybe beaten up in school.
Yeah.
It might not be showing up today.
Yeah.
But it is something that you're already carrying in your mind.
Yeah.
And all those continuous things that happen over time become stressful, and then there's an emotional insult that occurs.
Yeah.
So I think you can also do a regular talk.
No, absolutely. So a lot of my clients, the one-on-one ones, it's like a sounding board, right? Like for them, weekly therapy is like a place where they have a safe space without any judgment, where they can go and throw everything. The meaningful stuff comes back, and the things that are scrap gets dissipated. Right? Therapy is, for me, even as a client, for me, therapy is a sounding board. It's where I can just go chuck everything and see actually what sticks. It's not always when there's a huge traumatic thing. It could just be like, I'm just really scared to attend this meeting. Why am I scared? I just, maybe talking about it, doing one activity about it makes you realize that, shit, this is why, Or simple things like, I was, like you said, simple things like rejection or abandonment, or like I was just really bullied in school, and after that I was pretty cool, I'm very successful, I have a great job, I'm the CEO of a company, but there's still this maybe trait of I want everyone to like me, so I'm trying to make decisions like that. And so where does that come from? Maybe because in 10th grade I had no friends, and so just doing a little workshop or a little session of like understanding that. In my experience, I believe like once you see something, you can't unsee it, right? So a lot of the times I feel like the therapy is we just explore where that trait is coming from, because that the reason of why you're behaving this way is so hidden. We, in our mind, our physical mind has a defense mechanism where we can block out memories and we do erase things, and it's our body's way of protecting us by erasing it, right? So maybe in a session when we unveil that, just seeing that reason sometimes just solves the problem. We don't even have to do anything about it, because once I see it, I can't unsee it. Now it's on my mind. So when I'm behaving from that trait, I'm so aware I'm doing that, I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. It's not a subconscious behavior anymore. So sometimes it's just as simple as that. Sometimes I do sessions which are just 3-day workshops of play, where we do a lot of activities that just helps you learn one new thing about yourself. So it doesn't always have to be a heavy, struggling thing. Sometimes it can just be something as simple as how can I be a better companion to someone. Sometimes I just want to learn something new about myself to make me a better version of myself. So anything is possible.
Now, these are all things that even as a doctor I don't come across. Yes, I'm glad that you're here. Actually, this is quite meaningful even for somebody like me. I have enough education behind me, but if it's coming from me, maybe you guys should listen. I think you also do sessions individually, groups, families.
Yeah, so so family counseling is very different because there's a lot of inter-family dynamics. So I don't specialize in that. So I specialize in group work in the sense that I will have a workshop and anyone can sign up, 18 to 80. And If it's an open workshop, then I specialize in self-exploration, where my activities are orchestrated in a way where you either learn something new about yourself, or you learn how to deal with one particular struggle maybe you came with for that workshop, or you identify something about yourself that you'd like to work on going forward. But sometimes, organizations or certain wellness spaces can hire me with a topic in mind, saying, I want specifically a group. I have so many mothers in my yoga studio. I would like you to have a weekly workshop specifically for like mothers. So then the kind of activities I would do would be very centered around the nurture role, the caregiver role, how exhausting that could be even though they love it, because that's a whole dynamic by itself. And then that becomes a support group where they have each other. So I would facilitate things with a theme then, And then if it's the same group, if they came up with issues, then I would redo my workshop based on those issues and then come up with other activities to help them with what the group came up with. So like that. So it could be open book, so I specialize in self-exploration, but it does do with relationships. So I do help people work on their relationship, like with their spouse or their parent or their child or their best friend, but on an individual basis. I don't do it in the family therapy style where you're all present and we do it together. There's a lot more studying you have to do for that. It has a lot of other interpersonal
things happen,
dynamics that go into it.
See, but today we see a lot of people on camera, even if they're not actors. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, something like that.
Everyone's an actor now.
Everybody has a good opinion about themselves and even better opinion about everybody else.
Yes.
See, it's exhausting, right? See, how does, with so much going on every day, I want to hear from you how you can protect your real self.
Oh.
See, because this is me being me.
Correct.
Whether I'm on this channel right now doing this podcast and you know me for the last 12 years, this is who I am.
Yeah.
This is how I am.
Yeah.
But if I am talking directly to an audience, there is a medical part of me who's a doctor who comes out. Right? But that is my work.
Yeah.
That is again my real self.
Yeah.
But they're two different people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and now you have everybody on Instagram, then there's dime a dozen apps,
Yeah.
And their lives are not what they're portraying them to be.
Sure.
See, they're looking at somebody with a fancy car. They want to go rent a fancy car, go to a nice hotel. There are people who go to the airport just to take photographs. They're not flying anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people apparently do this.
They do.
They rent a car or go to the showroom of my new car. How do they protect themselves? See, they're actually losing themselves, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one perspective. Like in expressive, we have something called the masks we wear, right? Again, this is not the rule, but this is how I see it. I feel like essentially we're always protecting ourselves because that's what the masks do. Not everybody sees what's really behind the mask, and then there are different masks for different people and different spaces. So like in psychodrama, we have these two terms, which is the interpersonal roles and the intrapersonal. So the interpersonal roles are roles I play in relation to other people, like the friend, the daughter, the wife, the sister, the mother. These are roles that exist within me. Nitya the mother, Nitya the friend, Nitya the sister, Nitya the boss, Nitya the therapist. They're also me, but these are, let's call them masks for easier understanding. And so I'll probably have hundreds of these roles that I play in relation to others, but they're all also me. So Nitya the therapist, the way she talks to a person will be so different from Nitya the friend. And within the friend, I'm Nitya the formal friend right now because there's a camera staring at us. The minute the cameras are off and we have a drink in our hand, I'll be Nitya, a very different friend. And the way we talk, the colloquial language. So within that friend role also, there's so many kinds of friends that I can be. The friend I am to maybe one of my girlfriends will be so different from how I am to you. And so like that, we have those are interpersonal in relation to others, and we have intrapersonal roles, which are the roles within me. Like Nitya the perfectionist, Nitya the sleeper, Nitya the organizer, Nitya the responsible self, Nitya the... Now imagine Nitya has thousands and thousands of roles
and I'm talking about me being...
So those are the interpersonal roles we play with other people, which are so many. And the intrapersonal roles are the roles that exist within me, like Nitya, the organizer, Nitya, the perfectionist, Nitya, the responsible self, Nitya, the good daughter would be an interpersonal role because I'm playing it with somebody else. Nitya, the angry self, Nitya, the sparky self, the lazy self, whatever, so they're within me. So you and I probably have thousands and thousands of roles or masks that make us who I am. So I like to call them roles instead of masks because these roles all exist here constantly. They are making me who I am. But based on who I'm interacting with, maybe there'll be a combination of something that presents as a mask that interacts. That version of Nitya is interacting with you. So in psychodrama, they say is the self does not create the roles, but from the roles emerges the self. Because as I do life, roles are constantly being born. Like for example, when I was 8 or 9, the first time I got bullied was maybe the first time this protector role was born. We say born within me, where it was sparky and defensive and angry and snappy. But at that point, it served a very, very legitimate purpose. It was protecting me so that my feelings weren't constantly hurt by the people who were hurting me. Today, that role still exists, but maybe today, I'm just seeing it as, oh, Nitya is always short-tempered, she's always snappy. Every time my husband picks a finger, I'm just like, so I'm like, why am I being like that? Why? So maybe through some psychodramatic processes, I will understand that this role was born here. And it had a specific protective purpose where it assumed everyone is attacking it. But today, that environment for me doesn't exist. I have a much more loving, conducive environment, but that role doesn't know it has to be different. So it's still behaving the same way. So it's still thinking people are out to attack me. So it's reacting like that. So maybe in psychodrama, I'll have a conversation with that role. I'll talk to my protector and be like, listen, first, thank you for being there for me, because they also want to feel loved. And by they're all parts of me. This is how I would define self-love. I'm loving all the parts of me and I'm not rejecting them. You did. Without you, I don't even know how I'd have survived my childhood. But maybe today, we don't need to do it this way. And then maybe when I rolled reverse, which is I take on the other role, and my protector says, yeah, but I don't trust you to take care of you, Nitya. I have to be. Without me, what will you do? And then I come back to Nitya and be like, okay, I hear you. So how do we meet each other halfway? Because I get what you're saying. I also need you. So at that point, as a client, I will realize I cannot discard a role. They have a purpose. So then I'm like, okay, let's meet each other halfway. I will hear you sometimes, but maybe you don't need to be screaming in my brain, pushing everybody away. And that person is like, okay, cool, I can do this. And then I kind of make peace with that role. And then maybe I give it a different purpose. I'm like, you don't need to now keep pushing people away. People are not like what they used to be when I was a kid. Maybe now you can just nudge me here and there saying, oh, I think this person is taking advantage of you, but let's give them a chance. And then you repurpose, we call them transforming roles, to give them a new purpose so they don't feel aimless. And then you tend to see that maybe now the next time my husband says something, my reaction is not, yaar. My reaction is like, babe, what are you trying to say? And I would be surprised that, oh, my reaction has changed because I've made peace with something, I've understood something, I've seen something that I can't unsee, So the OG question was the masks and how do we protect ourselves. Coming back there, I would see it as all the roles we play or all the masks we wear, we're always protecting ourselves. But I think the bigger issue I've seen these days is we get so lost, which is I think what you were trying to say, we get so lost in the mask that we wear that what happens to the real self, no?
How do you protect your real self?
Yeah, I would stick with, there's no one self, right? Like who you are with Shobhi is so different from who you are with your son, who's so different from, and based on, I noticed who we interact with, the self will be different. And so we just have to, I think, be okay with the fact that we are different people to different people, and that's not a bad thing. But sometimes if we have certain roles that are not helping us or not serving a purpose, maybe that role is making me not a very nice person to be with, then maybe just ask the question of, do I want to do something about that? Do I want to understand where that's coming from? Is this role making me happy? Or is it serving a purpose that is working for me? And grow and transform and evolve that into something that does serve a purpose.
See, today with all this Instagram everywhere, WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, there are a lot of people I see through Gen Z who seem to be interested in emotional well-being.
Yes.
But do they really go on and do something about it? Or are this Gen Z just trying to say that yes, there's something called emotional, but I don't really care?
Yeah.
Because to me, it seems like they just want to showcase that they are interested in emotional health, emotional well-being.
Yeah.
But I don't see anybody really doing anything about it, at least in my field.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Field to field. It's a very valid question. I feel like that applies to all the generations though. Like if you think about it, even if we see the baby boomers, like our parents, and then of course we're millennials, we're always partial to our own thing. And then the Gen Zs, I would say Gen Zs are, from my brief observation, I'm not going to say I know everything, is I do think they're very aware. Like they're lucky enough to be born in a generation where they are
Info is
allowed
everywhere.
to be aware. I feel like baby boomers, they were born in a generation where this is the law, this is what you follow. If
And
you have
that's it.
feelings, suck it up, shove it down, and go do life, right?
That's how it was.
And then in the millennial generation, I feel like it was the beginning of something, because the baby boomers now were our parents, and they wanted to change. Some of them wanted to change the way things were, so we got a little bit of both. But by the time the Gen Zs came, I feel like they didn't really have experience what the limitations of you're not allowed to feel because I feel like that's what it was in the past. You're not allowed to feel your feelings. Here, they didn't have that. They had the luxury or the privilege of they are allowed to have their feelings. They're allowed to feel their feelings. And I do see it as a luxury and a privilege, because that's not like the upbringing many of us had till we became adults and we were like, no, I want to do things differently. So I feel like keeping that in mind, I don't know, maybe sometimes I don't think they're very aware of the fact that they have that and what do they want to do with it. Most of the people that I interact with are from the millennial and baby boomer generation, because they are now dealing with, like, let's say, transgenerational trauma or baggage of things that have been carried forward that they want to break that pattern, right? So I don't know specifically. I feel like Gen Zs are very aware, because of which, and they have this privilege, because of which I don't feel like they realize, maybe they're still in that phase where they're figuring out what it is that we need in this generation to maybe solve the issues that we're having. I think they're still in a very exploratory phase. Most millennials are in their 30s or 40s now, so we are more in a phase of where we've realized the limitations that came with our generation, and now we're seeking paths and avenues of how do I break this so I don't carry this forward with my kids, or I don't pass on this burden, is at least in my experience that I'm noticing. Yeah.
See, because you are trained in emotion, right? What do you suggest for somebody to be expressive but also grounded? Because today we live in a digital world.
Yeah.
So how do you express something and you're grounded?
Oh, that's a tricky one. Also depends how do you define expressive. Like in my field, when we say expressive, we're talking about creating safety for a person where they can express vulnerably, honestly, without judgment. But I'm guessing you mean by expressive, like where they can say their piece but also be down to earth about it, right? So I don't know how that fits into like my data of information.
Because see, when somebody is expressive, you'll all see, we are doing these Insta chats and giving people medical information, right? So what was my idea of doing this? Because every Tom, Dick and Harry thinks he knows more than a doctor.
Yeah.
There are nutritionists talking about health, there are fitness trainers talking about health, there are movie stars talking about health. But most of them get their information not from a medical textbook.
Yeah.
A WhatsApp forward is not medical information.
Yeah.
And then somebody conveying that to their followers who are in the millions.
Yeah.
A small misinformation just spreads like wildfire.
Absolutely.
Then on my channel, when I am talking about health,
Right.
I'm a highly qualified doctor. I have enough degrees to my name.
Yes.
And there are random people talking trash in comments. You don't know what you're talking.
Yeah.
I am talking about ECG And this, so we'll show that here. We are talking about how to identify things in the heart.
Yeah.
So all I say is there are three systems in the heart.
Yeah.
The ECG tells you the current of the heart.
Yeah.
The echo tells you the muscle of the heart.
Yeah.
The blood flow is by angio.
You're right.
Somebody says, no, you have no idea of what you're talking. So this, and then that guy obviously is getting fed some wrong information or the right information or whatever.
Right.
But he's being expressive
Right.
that I am wrong
Right.
when it is coming from somebody like me who I know for certain is right.
Yeah. That's true. We do live in the generation of misinformation because we have so much access to internet and portals. So I would say like maybe like how when I speak, I'm not speaking for all expressive art therapists. I'm not speaking for all alternate therapies. Whenever, and this is something I did learn in the past 5 years as I communicate, was when I give my thought or opinion, I always mention that this is what I think about it based on my limited or this much knowledge. This is my thing. So I feel like that's a fair thing to do, is even if you are sharing an opinion, it is with like the star mark of conditions apply. Like this is based on my experience of XYZ, and so this is the opinion I have concluded because of that. This is not the law. This is not all opinion. Even when I have an opinion that's different from somebody else's and I'm expressing and they're expressing, I've learned to do the thing where I'm like, okay, so based on their experience, maybe the same situation, their opinion is this and mine is this. And so in our thing, we believe something called multiple truths, where their thing can feel very true for them and my thing can feel very true for me. And I don't necessarily have to prove that wrong for my truth to be true.
No, because people have to learn to agree to disagree.
Exactly.
You cannot always think that you are right. See,
Absolutely.
because if it's a 6 from my end, it's a 9 from her end.
And
right.
Your field is very different from mine, Chaitanya. I feel like when it comes to your diagnosis thing, it is very concrete.
Yes.
Like maybe in the work I do, we don't believe in concrete because the idea is, if we believe in the different bodies, we have the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, and the spiritual body. You work on the physical body. Those things, it is by definition a concrete body. So the science that you are sharing with everybody, the answers are pretty much concrete.
They're concrete.
You can't be like, this answer is wrong because
yeah.
Hello, it's like saying I don't have 10 fingers. So it is different. When you tell on your page that this is how the heart works, I don't think there's room for that's not how it works. Whereas in my emotion, if I say, oh, my love feels like this, it's not concrete. There is room for love feeling differently because that body cannot be seen, which means it's more fluid or,
And love is now, love can happen every 6 months, right? It's because of oxytocin. So theoretically, you can fall in love every 6 months.
Yeah.
It could be the same person or a different person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's when they say, oh, I'm falling in love with my spouse all over again. Now I know why.
So, Nitya, now we'll do our rapid fire. Okay?
Oh, Jesus.
So you have to answer quick, no thought process going in. Journaling, dancing, or art? Which one recites you faster?
Art.
If healing had a color, what color?
Green, greenish blue.
Do you feel first or think first?
Oh, I think I feel first.
One emotion that you think people suppress the most?
Projection.
Okay. One wellness trend Gen Z is overdoing right now.
Oh,
apart from Instagramming their
it's so
entire
hard
life.
for me to talk about a generation I don't know too much about. One emotion they're suppressing.
They're overdoing.
Oh, they're overdoing.
I would say they're always being overexpressive of many things. They're trying to flaunt things that they don't even have in their lives just to showcase to somebody else that they're doing well in life. I feel many of these people are actually trying to portray something that they're not. Maybe.
Because I do agree that I feel like it's a generation that's still figuring stuff out.
one thing the world misunderstands completely about healing.
Oh, that it is some magical hocus pocus. I feel like they think it's a magical hocus pocus and it doesn't have any real weight behind it.
See, because even I feel, Rain, many people who come to me, they want to be seen immediately, treated 1 hour ago, and discharged yesterday.
Yeah.
See, it doesn't work like that. There
Absolutely.
are people who come to the hospital, you see every day some news about this hospital mistreated somebody. See, no doctor wants to mistreat you.
Correct.
No hospital wants to ill-treat you. If I ill-treat you, or by choice I treat you wrongly, why would you come back to me? Yeah, you won't come back. It's like me killing my own future.
Yeah.
I want to treat you well, so you go home happy, you tell 100 people Chaitanya is the best doctor, go to him.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Absolutely.
Right. I won't be treating you intentionally wrongly and kill my future self. Why will I kill myself off work?
Yeah.
So, see, people have to realize that you are not immortal, yeah? The way things are said about doctors and hospitals, sometimes it makes me wonder, everybody is immortal, only the doctor kills him, they die in a hospital.
Yeah.
Another common thing that I see is, my uncle came walking to the hospital, he died. Why did you come to hospital if you were walking and completely fine? You had a problem.
Yeah.
You were able to come, but you never got yourself checked the last many years.
Yeah.
It has built up. Nothing comes 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are fine yesterday. Today you had a heart attack. Does not mean you were fine yesterday.
Yeah.
You got a heart attack.
Yeah.
You are not fine.
Yeah.
So people have to really give care and time to their health.
Yeah.
You service your car every year. But people, I am fine now, why should I do a checkup? They are the ones who have this heart attack.
This is so true.
You have time to polish your car, service your car, clean your car, but you're fine, you don't need a checkup, right?
Yeah.
This concept of life and immortality has to change.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, the other day I was reading about a large hospital, some complaints about it saying they did a liver transplant for 35 lakhs and the bill was 80 lakhs. Yeah, the planned surgery was 35 lakhs, but if certain things go off, you have to pay for what has been done, right? I don't understand this concept of people filing cases against hospitals and doctors saying, okay, see, I'm not saying there are no black sheep. There are black sheep in every business.
Every field.
There are.
Yeah.
But you cannot find one black sheep and say and extrapolate that to the rest of the medical fraternity, right? Now, at the same time, you have RMPs, resident medical practitioner, regional medical practitioner, who is only a practitioner. He is not qualified degree. You have homeopathic practitioners and Ayurveda guys who are prescribing allopathic medication. That has to stop, right? That's where mistakes happen. You don't see an allopathy doctor like me going and practicing homeopathy. Likewise, homeopathy people should not be practicing allopathy.
Yeah.
I can definitely not do what you are doing, Nitya. I thought what I do is difficult, but what you do has to come from within you. What you are doing, what I figured from the conversation before this podcast and the podcast, you have to be passionate about doing what you are doing.
Absolutely.
You can do what I am doing because I'm educated to do that. I don't have to have a passion to do
I think
what,
you do.
to an extent, but you don't have to be so passionate, because for me, I feel medicine is a thankless job. I don't tell people to do medicine. I don't suggest anyone to do medicine as a career. And with AI coming in, medicine is going to fast change, but it will never take over what you are doing. There won't be successful people in your kind of line if they're not passionate about what they're doing. This interest has to come from wanting people to improve, like you. You can't be doing this with the idea that, oh, if I talk to her 10 minutes, I'll make money. It will never happen in your line.
Absolutely.
In your line, it
Nothing
doesn't.
happens in time. And I agree with you on the two things you said. Of one is change does not happen overnight, and the second one was that every existing condition has pre-existing journey and symptoms. Because I think that what you said applies to physical health and mental health the same way. Like when we talk about when somebody comes to therapy, I've had a person come and say, okay, so now will all of this be fixed, because they've just like told me all the things they're struggling with, and I have to explain to them that mental health's a journey. Like just because you do one session, it's not like you're going to go back and your life is like some magical clean slate. No, you have to do the work. I cannot do the work for you. And that the whole explanation, like what you explained, like in the physical health, like they have to make their diet better, they have to take their medication, they have to make sure they're sleeping well, they have to maybe have 30 minutes of physical exercise every day. If the doctor can do his best job, be the best person, prescribe everything, but if this person doesn't go back to their life and do that work, none is going to work.
It's like you need two hands to clap. Right?
Yeah, and so even in mental health, I said, we can talk about things, I can give you ideas and we can work on certain things, but you have to then the rest of the week before we meet again, do the work that we're talking about. And so it really is a journey. It's not an overnight thing, like you said. And also the pre-existing symptoms, I believe that fully for physical and mental health, right? Because like you said, for a heart attack, if I have a heart attack today, it is because the past maybe 5 years of my lifestyle choices have been really, XYZ, and that has led up to the way I'm eating, the way I'm exercising, the way I'm, maybe high stress because of work, whatever. And same with mental health. If I have a certain block issue where I'm struggling with something, it is because maybe I've never been to any kind of wellness or healing or therapeutic space, and so whatever baggage I have has piled up and piled up and piled up to a place where I'm like, if I don't do anything about it, I'll explode. So I think absolutely agree with you.
How do people connect with you?
So far my work is pretty organic, very similar to your work and your page. So right now they just reach out to me. It's word of mouth. So they get my number. They just message me. I can leave it with your page.
Yeah, we can put it up here.
Yeah. They can just text me and book an appointment, or any organization can get in touch with me if they'd like me to put a workshop together for their space. And so it's just direct contact right now, or you can DM me on my Instagram page. But my Instagram is mostly from my old career.
Yeah, because there's a picture of you standing in pink, right? That's so the only one you still do?
I mean, my whole following is from my film career, but I haven't, like you said, like I do this from a place of passion and not from a place of like sales and advertising, which is something, a lot of feedback my friends and family have told me is like, people are not going to know about the amazing work you do if you don't go and sell yourself. And I'm like I've always been bad at that.
I did not know that you do all this at this level and you're this passionate. And we speak quite often. Not like I speak to you every day, but we speak quite often, and I didn't know.
So far, all my clients are all word of mouth. Like I would have had 5, 6 and they would have told people and they would have told people.
And I don't think there are many people in this line of work like you.
Yeah. Right? In Hyderabad especially, there are quite a few doing this in like other cities where I go to study, like Bombay and Chennai, Bangalore. The expressive art scene is quite big. But in Hyderabad, it's not. So I was, in time, I would like to start a culture here where we do a lot of like, get in touch with our feelings stuff.
So Nitya, thank you. Yeah, this was powerful, soft, and needed.
Yes, thank you for having me.
And then we figured that there's a lot of healing that has to be done emotionally. That's from her point. Physically,
and my whole family goes there physically, so I know it works.
So if any of you want any more information, just put a DM here, and then I'll be able to connect the two of you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Nitya, for coming here for this podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I've had a blast.